I only read one book, but it's a good book, don't you know? I act the way I act because the good book tells me so. If I want to know how to be good, it's to the good book that I go. Because the good book is a book, and it is good, and it's a book.
And Adam knew Eve, his wife, which is just as well, as authorities tend to frown on couples who get married having never met before their wedding day. And she conceived, and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord, for they did surely know that having children would give them a much better chance of getting a council house. And Adam did say unto Eve, I am not man enough for you? And she did say, No. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, which is another way of saying that he was a Welsh hill farmer. But Cain was a tiller of the ground, which is another way of saying that he had a big dick. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord, for he did know that the Lord did like the herb. And Abel he was also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel, and to his offering, and did say, in his best Ali G impersonation, Respect. And they did bump knuckles, and hang together, checking out the Julies. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect, because though the Lord did like his herb in the form of a big fat Camberwell carrot, he was at odds with what to do with the big bag of potatoes that Cain was offering. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth? Why is thy countenance fallen? And Cain did say, O Lord, what am I to do with this big sack of spuds? And the Lord did say, Make chips. If thou doest well, thou shalt not be accepted. And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And the Lord did say unto him, herb is all well and good, but it doeth make one fancy a donner afterwards. Why do you not go and feed them to yonder dinosaurs? The Tyrannosaurus will have your arm off when he sees those. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, like there was some other Abel he could be talking to. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain did shout, Hey, look, a unicorn, and rose up against Abel his brother when he wasn't looking, and belted him round the head with a particularly large turnip, and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? Once again demonstrating that all-knowing doesn't include knowing everything. And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? I grow cabbages, remember? And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. Which begs the question, why when Abel turned up in heaven rather unexpectedly, rather than 900 years hence, as would be according to God's great plan, did God not just ask him? And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand, and has presumably swallowed him whole, for on a planet with just 3 people on it, it should be really easy to hide a body. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth, but for some reason, maybe because it would be a little hypocritical of me considering what I have planned for the next 46 chapters, you shall not be known as a murderer. And Cain said unto the Lord, My punishment is greater than I can bear. For fuckest all dost thou do when I kill my own brother in a gruesome act of murder, but castest down from grace, and damned be my parents and all of humanity for all time for eating a bloody apple. O woe, thought I. And the Lord did say unto Cain, That thy parents did defy my direct instructions not to do wrong, and go scrumping apples off my prize apple tree, even though they did not know what wrong was. But as I have not, and will not get around to pointing out that murder is bad, and that thou shouldn't doest it, for at least another couple of 1,000 years, you get off lightly, considering that you have just killed 1/4 of the population of the planet. And Cain did say, Behold, by the condition of the asbo that thou dost hand to me, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, including the shopping centre, library car park, and the environs thereof, for as well as the kids' playground in Rotherman Street. And from thy face shall I be hid, for I hast been and robbed myself a hooded top, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth, otherwise known as a chav. And it shall come to pass that every one that findeth me shall slay me. And the Lord did say, like who? There is only Adam and Eve on the planet, and after they get hold of you and slay you, you shall be dead, and all your friends will be commenting upon thy Facebook page about what a good lad you were, and howest you wouldn't hurteth a fly. And then he did remember that he had indeed created other people. And the Lord said unto him, Therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. For the last thing that God wanteth would be for a gangwar to start. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him, like the only two other people on the planet. Oh, and I suppose all those people that God made in the first week, that he seems to have all but forgotten about. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden, which was not a shop that sells beds and bed linen, but it does kind of make you wonder. And Cain knew his wife, which would be presumed by most people in times to come to be the only other female on the planet, his mother, Eve. And she conceived, and bare Enoch, and he builded a city. In other words, considering that there were by this time only 5 people on the planet, he did build a house, and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Enoch. And unto Enoch was born Irad, who would have collected stamps had there been such a thing. And Irad did beget Mehujael, who sat on his arse all day. And Mehujael begat Methuselah, who, like his father, also did fuck all worth mentioning. And Methuselah begat Lamech, who did ask, Hey, where are all the women at? And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the other Zillah. And according to how the story was told, neither were begotten. And Abba bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle, thus fulfilling the statutory requirements for the inclusion of cows into this part of the Bible. And his brother's name was Jabal. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ, which means that he liked to get pissed on cheap lager, and that he was a notorious wanker. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Namar. This was a terrible shame, considering that he lived in a time long before anyone actually knew how to smelt iron. So I guess he must have just sat around and looked at the rusty-coloured rocks. And Lamech said unto his wives, Abba and Zillah, Hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech. For that is how manly men did speak unto their women in times of old, and they did not get arsy when told to go into the kitchen and maketh him a sandwich. And he did say, For I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold, for he was surely a mean motherfucker. No mistake. And they did take no notice, and did tell him to shut the fuck up and stop talking bollocks, or he would be sleeping on the sofa this night, and would not get to watch his 2 wives getting to know each other. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth, which suggests that the words know might mean something completely different to what it means today. For God, said she, hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began man to call upon the name of the Lord. And far up in heaven the Lord did say, Oh, here we go. No rest for the wicked. And every Sunday from then on it was so.